want to start off obviously with prayers for, you know, all of Florida and the people in the path of this terrible storm. And I'm also hopeful that the nuclear power plant operators have done their due diligence in their preparations as well. Also, I think from the last time I was here, continued shelling and stuff is still going on in Ukraine. The Biden administration seeks another $35 million in nuclear incident, or I guess nuclear incidents amid the rising dangers. Basically, nuclear power carries exponential risk way beyond any other energy source we have. So every time I come here and I hear about more nuclear, my concerns are what we already have and how we can protect what we have. Our aging plants probably need a lot. I'm always worried to hear that we want to do more when I don't think we're doing enough of what we already have. The container issues, I think, still need to be looked at, because here recently, I looked up on the high burn-up fuel pilot program we started some years ago at North Anna. And the report that came back basically said a lot more research is needed. The NRC has allowed this industry to put the cart before the horse for years. They just kept using nuclear and keep moving up the high burn-up fuel. So now we have a really crazy mixture of fuel, spent fuel pools or loaded to the brim around the country. If one of those has a leak or drain out, we're going to deal with something catastrophic. So really, the cart's being put before the horse again. We hear more nuclear, more nuclear. The Biden administration also is they're going to fund communities on education on nuclear waste. They said that on Tuesday we'll fund up to 8 U.S. entities or communities that are interested in learning more about storage of nuclear waste, as the issue has hampered the nuclear power industry. Well, sure it has. You know, New Mexico and Texas are not interested. And the idea of an interim parking lot style nuclear waste dump is really quite ridiculous. You can't just do all this infrastructure to take it somewhere temporarily. Temporarily will be a very long time. So ultimately, if they try to site that, it'll be in an area where, you know, people don't have a choice. So I think that's definitely a problem. And I also want to reiterate that as it goes for clean energy, nuclear energy is not clean. The whole nuclear fuel chain, from uranium mining, processing, turning it into yellow cake and pellets and the whole 9 yards, and then the back line of forever, or the back end of forever storage, the canister cap. I mean, I'd like to see a third party do an actual, you know, estimate of the CO2 emissions that are created by trying to do that. On top of that, and I just noticed that they finally published the 2021, well, probably for all over the country, but specifically I watched North Anna, and they published that one for the public to see. Last time it wasn't up. And, oops, pull that up. Because it's not just about CO2 emissions. It's also about radioactive effluents and gases and other nasties that go into our environment. And that's just under routine, regular operation. That's not under an accident or any other problem. So basically, to give an example, I mean, the public is just not really aware of the dynamics. And the NRC, obviously, a few years ago canceled the idea of actually doing some research around these communities to find out if cancer is higher or what's actually in the environment. But just a short list of gaseous effluents: krypton 87, krypton 88, xenon 133, xenon 133M, xenon 135, xenon 135M, xenon 138, iodine 131, iodine 133, magnesium 54, cobalt 58, iron 59, cobalt 60, zinc 65, strontium 89, strontium 90, molybdenum 99, cesium 134, cesium 137, cerium 141, cerium 144, and then it goes on the list that goes on and on: cobalt, zinc, strontium, all these things that are also the liquid effluents. So all this stuff is going in the environment. I don't know how we can consider it clean, and this is without an accident. So really, nuclear energy is not really a true clean energy. What I'm excited about, actually, is the latest, I was going to end with that, but I want to jump to that, is the, I can get to it, not very good at this, obviously. Get off here. Is Coastal Virginia Offshore Wind Project. I was at the General Assembly when we talked about this in the beginning, almost a decade ago. Very happy to see that it's making ground. Hampton Roads, 27 miles of the coast of Virginia coastline, paving the way to the clean energy future of Virginia. Basically, as this goes on, I'm not sure exactly when the completion date's 2026, powered up to 660,000 homes at peak, goes on and on. Also, piggybacking on that, talking about how they can also utilize it with hydrogen. There's definitely better ways in nuclear as it goes for energy, and this is where we really need to put our energy, money, and time in, and put our other money and innovation and how we can keep the waste that we've created safe. And we need to start unloading the pools, because that's really where the biggest danger is, especially in areas where they just extended the license of Diablo Canyon, and one of the most dangerous places to actually have a nuclear power plant. So good news on that front as it goes for Virginia with true clean energy, and also doubling up with that also with solar. It would be interesting to know when we'll know more about that high burnout fuel I mentioned also. And I did look up, and I was able to find that that federal inspector at North Anna, he's not going to do jail time because he pleaded guilty of falsifying the data at North Anna. Still don't know the extent of how much and what all he falsified, but obviously he did it for a while, and so he's kind of like just going to probably have to pay a fine, but still can't find anything on his sentencing. And basically, it said, pull it up. While only a few specific instances of falsification were described in court documents, the statement of facts signed by Crone stated that for years, I repeat, for years, he allowed days or even weeks to pass without entering North Anna. Now this is the senior NRC inspector that's at North Anna, was. Court documents go on to say that his immediate supervisor told him on several occasions to conduct physical inspections more frequently, but that Crone continued to avoid the plan. So, you know, I have a problem with the confidence when this kind of thing is going on. And this is not an isolated incident. This is something that happens on a routine basis. It's pretty scary. So hopefully this group will stop focusing on more new, and think we're going to throw billions and billions of dollars at these new reactors, when in reality, we're going to be going in the other direction. We're going to be going with wind, solar, hydrogen, And definitely, I think we really need to talk about conservation and how we can do better at that. Because every time that we're producing energy and we're wasting it, it's terrible. I guess that's all I have to say.